Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, has $1 million in jewelry in cash stolen from the Hollywood home, which is kind of crazy because again, this amount of money in terms of like jewelry is pretty dumb, right? It's like who just like has $1 million in jewelry just laying around? Now, potentially, this could be like some sort of insurance scam. Which, by the way, if you are someone who does carry a whole bunch of expensive jewelry or watches, make sure you got some good insurance because this is just beyond stupid to just carry at your house. So Beyonce's mother reportedly had more than $1 million worth of jewelry in cash stolen after thieves broke into her LA home, a report said. Tina Knowles, 69, was reportedly out of town when thieves broke into her Hollywood home at 10:30 a.m. on July 5th. The burglars made off with an entire safe filled with her valuables, according to TMZ. There was no one at home at the time of the burglary, but the break in was discovered that morning after somebody close to Knowles stopped by the house to find the safe missing. It remains unclear how they gained access to the property, and police are reportedly asking Knowles' neighbors if they have any information about the break in and are reviewing security footage. There are no leads in the case thus far, according to TMZ. Again, like I said, this could potentially be some sort of insurance scam. Probably isn't, but that is a possibility. But the thing is that people need to understand, and I don't really understand why these super rich celebrities live in California because California, especially LA, is a crap hole. Like, you pay so much money to live in a cardboard box so that you deal with crime and like needles and drugs all over the place for what? Like, you're dealing with all of that for what? So that your home that probably costs like four, five, who knows, $10 million, and your $1 million worth of nonsense gets stolen. Like, why bother staying in that place at all? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So Tina Knowles' home made headlines in April after a man was jailed for throwing rocks at her mailbox. And she did not press charges in that incident, according to TMZ. Then in May, Tina Knowles survived a brush with danger after she was pulled from the crowd at one of her daughter's concerts in Belgium. And footage showed paramedics hauling Knowles up on stage before she told them she was fine and waved to the crowd an apology. Now, the biggest issue that I see with like family members of these super famous rich celebrities is that they are typically not in the same position of the celebrity in terms of what they could technically pay for in terms of like security, protection, all that sort of stuff. So they're just like an easier target. They're more of like a squishy target compared to like the main celebrity, right? Because you could have like let's just say like The Rock, right? You could have The Rock probably has a massive security team, all this sort of stuff, but maybe his dad probably has nothing, right? So his dad would be a squishier target than The Rock himself. So you could basically get at The Rock by going through the dad, etc. So it's like a really weird situation. Like the thing is, when you reach the like net worth, the income level of like a Beyonce where you're like billionaires, right? You should probably be paying a pretty hefty sum for security to protect your loved ones. At least that's my opinion, right? At least you would want to do that. So I mean, this just seems kind of crazy. Let's see some of these comments. I wouldn't be surprised if she had someone to steal it because it's definitely insured so she can get some new jewelry. See, that's kind of like my thinking that this is potentially a possibility. But the only problem with that is that would it actually even make sense, right? Because how much of a net worth does the mom actually have? Like, if she's worth like 30 million, 40 million because of her daughter, does it make sense to even do some sort of insurance scam for such a low amount of money? That being said, we got the whole Logan Paul guy who basically like is constantly trying to not pay his fans that he basically scammed for like $1 million, right? even though he's making tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars from his drink company Prime. Like, isn't that kind of crazy? Like, you have made probably over nine figures already with everything said and done after tax, your social media, your merch. Because I remember watching a video where Logan Paul said that he made like 20 or 30 million dollars in merch in like a month or something before, like during his like crazy vlog days. So we're talking about someone who makes crazy amounts of money constantly, not willing to just pay the fans that believed in him for some dumb crypto project when it was only like 1.8 million that he said that he would pay them, right? We're talking about someone who's making potentially multiple nine figures, not willing to pay 1.8. To me, that just seems crazy, right? So who knows? Maybe Beyonce's mom did do something like this, where it's like a insurance scam. Now I don't think that, but it is a possibility. Cash taken? Oh yes, that's a good insurance claim. Big deal. That's why we have insurance. Go away, both of you. Tell me you didn't think insurance scam without telling me. Not condoning the felons, but what kind of moron has a million plus in jewelry sitting around? Most people keep high dollar jewelry in a safe deposit box. See, that's the thing, right? I remember watching this YouTuber who's not just a YouTuber. He does like I think music producing and TV show producing. I think he's called producer Michael, and he's like a watch collector, like a pretty big watch collector. Where we're talking about like multiple like tens of millions of dollars in his like watch collection and very rare watches too. And he basically maybe only keeps I think like one or two watches at his home, and then everything else is like in the safety deposit box at a bank that he has to go with the key, unlock it, bring it, etc. Like all these checks and balances and all that kind of stuff to protect it. So when you get to that certain like again net worth, there are things in place to protect your assets regardless of basically whatever happens. So it seems kind of weird that she would just carry or have like a million in a safety deposit box in her home. Because again, the thing that I just don't understand about these rich people is like, why do you guys think that you are safe in a place like LA where crime is super high, right? Like they don't care about like you being wealthy. Like these criminals are just going to go follow you home and steal from you. Now, in her situation is actually probably pretty lucky that she wasn't there because who knows what could have happened if it is like a legitimate thing. But also, it could be something where there's so many people potentially of like high net worth individuals in LA where maybe they actually only spend a few months at their home, right? That's in LA. So if that's the case, you basically have people who have like multiple million-dollar homes in terms of like the cost of the home, right? So it could be like a $4 million home, $6 million home, $10 million home. If these criminals want like know that they could basically break into one of these big homes and just steal pretty much whatever they want to steal and basically never get caught, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't these criminals go after these like massive homes, steal easy money, and just move on with their day? She must be old school who keeps large amounts of cash in their home. Plus, does she not have a home alarm? What kind of idiot leaves $1 million lying around? She must be awfully stupid and cheap owning such a low quality safe. The thing is, even if you do get like a good quality safe, it still could be just stolen, right? If it's any sort of safe that you can basically just pick up and carry, depending on like how strong you are or whether or not you have like tools or something. Even if the safe like weighs like 500 pounds, if it can be moved in some way, it's going to get moved, right? Unless it's like completely bolted to the ground and then sealed and then like a passcode and then all this other stuff. But like at that point, you're probably spending more on the safe than what you're actually going to be putting inside it. So again, at that point, you're basically just smarter to just stick things into a safety deposit box. Crazy. Feel free to give your thoughts on this. I just thought it was kind of interesting because to me, it kind of seems like an insurance scam.